Hello and welcome to the Apocalypse Soon podcast. And now make it loud for your host, Mr. Eddie Pepitone.
Hey everybody! Welcome to the cesspool, the sewer, the unbelievable shitstorm that is the United States, or the not United States of America. And I am here today to help you get through what I like to refer to as the great unraveling. Our society completely unraveling from ecosystem disaster to mass violence, mass shootings. And I hope everybody's okay. I know we have our band leader here.
Oh, man, I tell you what.
Bobby and the anti-vaxxers. Bobby. And the Mephistophelians. I forgot your last name of the band.
That's, my side project is the anti-vaxxers. But, we got a lot of the same sensibilities in this group here, so.
You do.
Absolutely.
You do. And Bobby, everybody in your band, they're doing well, but also they are receiving food from food banks.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of good stuff out there. A lot of old burgers being thrown out. It's on the street. And my sax player, Billy over here, he knows what it is. He's always getting old hot dogs and hamburgers.
It's sad, but that your band is getting burgers from the street, but it's a reality. A lot of Americans are food deprived, food insecure, they call
Absolutely.
it. Food deserts.
Yeah.
You could go on and on about like food laundry. No, food desert is a good choice. But
That's the name of my high school band. Food Desert. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, we were a fusion metal band. It was, I tell you what, a lot of times.
Fusion metal band.
Oh, yeah. Not a lot of lyrics. Nobody could clap to the band. You couldn't clap. People would go, "Where's the beat?" I go, "That's why it's good." That's how you know it's some good fusion-y kind of stuff, because you don't even know where the beat is.
Yeah, the best fusion is when you're completely lost.
Oh, yeah.
You can't grab onto it in any way, and you just change the station.
Yeah.
Or you take off the MP3, whatever. How do you listen, Bobby? Are you still old-time radio?
I got a Victrola, and
You're old school.
Oh, I love that. You can't get that Victrola sound out of these new digital devices. It's like garbage.
Right.
Give me a big old horn coming off of a record. You know what I mean? Something made out of clay, preferably.
Yeah, with a little white puggy dog. Ooh. If you remember that symbol of the Victrola.
Oh yeah, with the black over the eye.
Yes,
love that dog.
Yes. A lot of people don't know what the hell we're talking about, but that's because everybody, or most people don't know history, and that's another sign, by the way, of decay. And speaking of decay, let's bring in our producer, the inimitable, the on top of everything, the on time. We had to get here early today, but he was on time. Please welcome Kevin Tinkin, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah. The inimitable. I like that.
Yeah, whatever that means. I don't know. By the way, are you like that with language? Like you just throw out words and you're hoping that they fit?
Yeah, I actually had to have, it's a true story, I had a parent-teacher conference when I was in first grade because I was using big words, and the teacher was like, he keeps telling me he's frustrated, and I don't have other first graders saying that. I'm like, I don't know. I like using big words, but who needs to know the definitions?
I love language. I really do. My shorthand is Brooklynese, which is just a primal scream from hell. Brooklynese, not the Brooklyn that's been gentrified with gourmet grilled cheese shops and gourmet peanut butter shops. Kid you not, that goes on. But the Brooklyn where when you wake up, you don't want to live. That Brooklyn.
Wow.
And that's really a state of mind. The Brooklyn state of mind can be achieved anywhere, but not the gentrified, and this is what the United States has become. People with money who go to gourmet grilled cheese shops, and then the people who are sautéing their own entrails for dinner. You know what I mean? Like that is kind of.
Speaking of big words, I like
Well,
that.
entrails?
Yeah, that's good.
Not a big word, but a word not used a lot because people don't like to talk about their insides.
know.
Like
It's so sad.
It's guts, basically,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
entrails. And my point with that is that some people are eating, gourmet fare, and other people are pulling their insides out and sauteing in a very little bit of olive oil, probably not virgin olive oil.
No.
Which is a little expensive.
Yeah.
Did you ever make the switch to virgin olive oil?
I don't like those prudes. I like a sexually active olive oil. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. The virgin olive oil, very pilgrimy. I forget the word they use, but Quaker, like not a lot of sex.
Yeah. Not enough. I think that the country would be completely different. We had a little more sex with the Pilgrims. You know what I mean?
I think we are having a lot of sex in this country.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the few things left for people.
Yeah.
Except when they're working disheartening jobs, like just ridiculously hard, like warehouse jobs. I can't see an Amazon worker coming home ready to rumble, in the bed after working, a 70-hour week in the warehouse at a rate that is monitored by robots. Where do you get the...
it's hard to get horned up when you're getting monitored by robots,
Very hard. As a matter of fact, you don't see a lot of sex in the Ray Bradbury science fiction movies where... I don't know if it's just Bradbury, but Arthur C. Clarke. Yeah. My science fiction knowledge is not that great. Arthur C. Clarke, Ray Bradbury,
Vonnegut, that's it.
Vonnegut.
Those are the only
He wasn't
authors.
really Kurt Vonnegut, the best. I watched a documentary about Vonnegut. Which everybody should see. What a great documentary.
Wait, on Hulu?
I don't know.
I think I watched that
streaming service. I get the streaming services mixed up.
Yeah.
Plus, I live by a stream. You know what I mean? An actual stream. So I'm very confused. Like sometimes I'll go down to the stream, and I'll go, "Where the fuck is the Hulu?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
like I mix up mediums.
Absolutely. I always liked Vonnegut because the chapters were short. And I remember feeling good about it. I got through 7 chapters today.
Well, he was so readable. Like his books just flowed, and you're right about that. Mm-hmm. A lot of the chapters were very short, and I also felt you always feel a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
At the end of a chapter, like, oh, I just read a chapter. It was only a page.
Yeah.
Yet no one can take that away from me.
No, sir.
Like in other words, the eulogy at your funeral would be something like, this man, though he did leave his family in poverty and in much debt, he finished 8 of 32 chapters of the Vonnegut novel, and so it goes.
Yeah. He read Cat's Cradle once, and he wouldn't stop talking about it. He got through one book.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to speak at your eulogy? Who do you want? Who do you want there? Who's your dream eulogy speaker?
Well, I would hope that who's ever in charge of getting my eulogy done. They would hire. I would like outside help because my friends, I don't think can swing it. Because I'm too complicated. I'm too much of a contradiction. And I would like my eulogist, if that's a word, again, the English language. I would love my eulogist to be hired, from the outside of my life. And I don't know. I'm thinking of. Who would be a good one? Cornel West.
Oh wow.
Cornel West, great activist.
Maya Angelou would be good, I think.
I think she died.
Yeah. Oh. Well,
did Maya Angelou die?
Yes. Well,
Aaron says but he didn't say it forcefully.
Yeah.
We don't know if Maya. She did.
She did for
She
sure.
did.
We have a confirmed Maya Angelou is gone.
This just in. Imagine Walter Cronkite, which a famous moment was when he announced on the air President Kennedy has been shot, and he took off his glasses, and he almost cried. But he didn't. He kind of wiped his eyes. You could tell he was on the verge of tears. He knew that it was the end of America's innocence. You know, Kennedy, John F. being shot. But that would be something if right now I don't know, months later, I don't know how. When did she die? Do you know, Aaron? He's going to look it up. But like a year or two later, I'm just like, this just in, at least to me. 2014? So Maya Angelou died 8 years ago.
Okay, fair enough.
And it would be funny if I had had a delayed 8-year reaction.
Yeah.
And just be like, this just in, even though it happened 8 years ago, Maya Angelou, the great poet, has passed.
And you can't hold it together.
I can't hold it together. I was supposed to do a monologue, but I can't do it. Look, so what was your week like? Did you have a good week?
I had a great week. Yeah, I had a friend call me in the midst of a mushroom panic.
Is that true?
Yeah.
What happened? Because I have not taken mushrooms.
Oh, really?
Sorry about that spit up. I have not taken mushrooms in a long time. I thought they're very safe. What happened to him or her?
He just got in his own head. He went to a concert and got lost in a. He was there with a friend, you know, but got lost and then called me and was like, I don't know.
He must be a really good friend. If he, in a panic, called you.
Yes.
This isn't your son, is it?
No. Jesus. Yeah, my boy, my
an old
14-year-old
friend, right?
Yeah,
and what? So he was like, Kevin.
Well, he went to go to the bathroom, and then he's like, look, I'm at the Forum. I went to go to the bathroom. I can't find the guy I came with. I'm like, well, you're around people, right? He's like, yeah. I go, you know where your seat is? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, so just go back to your seat, and they'll be with you. And, you know, in the meantime, you know, smell some flowers, you know, take a break. And he's like.
And you calmed him down?
Yeah. I think so. I think I did. I am. And inappropriately, yeah, I'm a healer. No, I think I do calm people down. I sometimes
you have a calming effect.
Yeah. I keep it pretty chill, and so, but I don't always have the answers, and sometimes I'll swing at an answer, and it's not the right one.
Well, you're human, but that's actually a heartwarming story. And by the way, folks, and this is what I really wanted to get into here: when you're panicking on a mushroom, when you're panicking on hallucinogenic mushrooms, please give Kevin Tinkin a call or have your own Kevin Tinkin. Yeah. It's early, folks. We all need someone to call when we're panicking on mushrooms. We're in the end of days, folks. We're taking a lot of drugs to escape the harsh, brutal reality of collapse. And mushrooms are one of the better ones. They give you a great sense of well-being, but if you happen to take too much or you're not in the right place, you have to have a number handy. Whenever I take mushrooms, I write a number on my arm. It's just 911. And I will say, hello, I'm panicking on mushrooms. And they will talk me through it. They say, sir, were they portobellos? Were they porcini? Were they whitecaps? And I'll say, no, they were hallucinogenic. And they hang up. And it makes me realize that people who work 911 don't do enough mushrooms. All right, well, we have a great show. We have a great show. We're looking forward to it. We will discuss the oncoming disasters that are right around the corner.
I'm salivating for it. I can't wait.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside. Be right back.
Hi, and welcome back to Fallout Talk. I'm so excited to have our next guest here, one of the only men here on the island that I've been able to have a conversation with in English and any sort of a living human, that's not actively trying to eat me. But guys, just want to welcome our guest to Fallout Talk here, Mr. Eddie Pepitone. Good to have you, sir.
Hey, it's good to be on Fallout Talk, and boy, a lot of nuclear particles are falling out, but
I'll tell you. Absolutely.
Not many people surviving here on the island. It's good to be on Bikini Island.
Yeah, it's really nice.
The atolls, I believe. It's good. This was the one spot. Interesting because, we had originally dropped the atomic bomb in the Bikini Islands, the atoll islands, and now the only survivors on the planet are here, and it's an interesting full circle
Isn't
thing.
it great how that works out?
Thank you for having me, by the way.
Absolutely. I'm so glad we got all the bodies off the couch and everything. And the
Fallout kills,
Oh, it gets
rough. What are we going to do? Are we going to mope around, or are we going to have a good time till we're dead? And I go for the latter.
Absolutely. Most of my days, now that I think about it, we're mostly just trying to escape the packs of the dogs, and just getting away from the packs of the wild dogs. And now, now I'm able to kind of, live beyond that. And my infection, of course, is healed up a little bit. And you'll notice the smell's gone.
I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but your infection does look like it's coming back. And I don't want you to, you try to sugarcoat it for whoever is watching.
You know what it is, Eddie? It's the power of positive thinking. And it really is,
Thank you for saying that, because I have been working so hard to be positive, because you see all the death, when the nuclear, everybody was like, oh, this can't be nuclear fallout. And then boom, their face falls off. And I'm the guy who's got to clean up the faces.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to clean up the faces. And my significant other, who at this point is half human, half goat. That's my significant other.
And we love her here at the show, by the way.
Well, yeah. She brays and brays. Anyway, she or he, whatever it is now, or it, I don't know the pronoun for half human, half goat, but things happen when chromosomes are fucked up during a nuclear winter type deal, right? So I'm cleaning up faces, and she says I'm getting angry. She says I'm getting angry, and I'm not getting angry. I'm just having problems. Sweeping up human faces. It gets to you, but I love being on the show.
And I noticed that you've always done such a good job of separating the work and home life balance.
Thank you.
You're out. No, and I've seen you. I've seen you too, and you guys are so adorable.
Well, we fight. We fight over the fact that there's no food or no air. We do fight over that, like
women, right?
Well, I don't know. It's half goat, and there is no more vagina. It's a weird thing that I'm dating.
Sure, yeah.
It's a weird thing that I'm dating.
And I think that just really, Eddie, speaks to your resilience in a situation like this. A lot of guys would go, I'm not going to get in a relationship with a half woman, half goat. She's changed. I haven't. I'm still the same old me.
Yeah.
But she's changed because she's now half of a goat.
Right, and she has.
Yeah, but you're able to just keep trucking forward. And gosh, I'd love to see it.
Well, that's one thing my father, God rest his soul, before he took his own life.
I remember that day.
In a bakery in Brooklyn. But he used to teach me, put one foot in front of the goddamn other.
That's right.
And then his gun went off. It went off accidentally in front of the Napoleons, and not the people, not tyrants, the Napoleon pastry.
Oh,
in the bakery.
Yeah.
But anyway, though, to date someone or something that's such a strange creature, and to be picking up faces off the street because of the radiation, it's not easy. But you know what? I will keep going. I'll keep trying to put, well, there is no food and there is no table. I'll keep trying to put what am I putting on the I'll keep trying to put, little bugs on a surface. Instead of food on a table. That's what I'm going to say. I'll keep trying to put little bugs on a surface.
Yeah, you're so good at being able to distract, and I think in a functional way. And I think that's one of the things that we got to do.
Half goat, half woman, and no vagina and everything that I'm dating thinks I'm being not like that.
Well, you know what they say. If mama's not happy, then nobody's happy, right?
You're right about that.
I'll tell you what.
You're right about that.
This has been fantastic. Folks, we'll be right back with how to cope with cannibalism. Thanks for joining us on Fallout Talk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this man and me, we've had an incredible relationship our whole lives. It's I don't even know how to describe it except I love him. And Mark, you actually are a guy that old Hollywood. Oh, this is my producer Kevin Tinkin, by the way.
Hey, Mark.
On Apocalypse Soon. On Apocalypse Soon is the name of the podcast. And Mark, you really are a guy now who doesn't need an introduction. You really are one of those dudes.
I don't know. I still think I thank you, Eddie, and we have known each other a long time. I was trying to remember if it's always been good, and I think it pretty much has. I don't think there was ever a time where you were like, "Fuck Maron, I've had enough." Not in a real way. I think you probably say that at home by yourself sometimes, but I don't think you say it to other people.
Yeah, no. I you know what I say to other people, because they're always like, I don't know about Maron, like that kind of thing. It's partially intimidated. They're partially intimidated, jealous of your success, and I just say, you know what? He's a fucking sweetheart. I love that guy.
Well, we know each other. You're one of those guys that can see through the bullshit, and you know me. And a lot of people think, I don't know, they think I'm intimidating, or they think I'm judging them. And I think both of those things are true. I think that I am almost always judging everybody who thinks I'm judging them. And they're right to feel uncomfortable. But
oh my God!
But look. What I was saying is, I don't know if I don't need an introduction. I think that there's a lot of, like, me and you are similar. That I'd like to think of us as still discoverable. Like I would say that most people, Eddie, don't know who I am, and certainly don't know who you are.
And certainly, if they don't know, they know you at this point, because my friends who are not even close to show business adjacent, they all know you. They're like, oh yeah,
the podcast.
I think so.
Happens,
I think so.
Yeah, it's weird because even Tom Dreesen, who used to open for Frank Sinatra. It started with David Letterman. He's doing spots at the store again, and he is. Every time he sees me, he's like, it was unbelievable. Your podcast. I mean, I was throwing out the first pitch at the Chicago Cubs baseball game, and the groundskeepers were like, "We heard you on Maron." I'm like, wow, that's bigger than. And even I was like, really, the groundskeeper? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if, like, you're just traveling through South America and you're like, all the campesinos heard you on WTF, Mark.
They listen to you while they're executing innocent people.
That's right. Keep it rolling in the background.
You're the favorite when they're filling ditches with bodies.
I think interesting.
Different type of groundskeeper.
Yeah.
They play the national anthem before they shoot the journalists. Okay, that's a good segue into what we're all about here. How far are we? I woke up, and I don't know about you, Mark, but I go back and forth with thinking we are very close to just terrible shit. And I remember me and you talking about, I think I'm going to, I remember one time in the kitchen at the Comedy Store or the bar or whatever, you said, I didn't think I was going to see a lot of shit before I died. But now I think I am, and I agreed. And I'm really in agreement now, because the thing that really scares me lately, I mean, the ecology, the ecosystem is fucked. But the fascist, all of the people who voted for Trump are not going away. Like, it seems like there is a definite, I just can see violence starting to happen, and the three of us.
Yeah, it is happening. I mean, it is happening in what they're still sort of presented as isolated events, but like, certainly January 6th and all that stuff.
Oh.
But I mean, look, man.
Well, yeah, that's true. Why am I saying yeah?
It's just a conversation that isn't had specifically, that there are a bunch of people in this country, a lot more than we ever assumed, and it's a growing number of people that do not want to have this form of government. So, and certainly if people are no longer willing to be tolerant of the way democracy works, that, if policy is passed or is voted upon by a majority, and there's a minority that can't suck it up and just, accept it because that's the way the government works, then we're in trouble. If you don't have tolerance as the lubricant of democracy, and it's just people going like, well, fuck that, and then let's change the rules,
well,
or let's radicalize state governments so minority rule can exist, then I just don't think people really admit that there is a very active and very shameless and very brazen American fascism happening. I mean, I don't think they call it that because that would give it away.
It's the Christian right. It's fueled by the Christian right. And
well, I mean, they've always been there. I mean, that's a core group, but I think it's also expanded to involve a bunch of sort of angry, broken, fundamentally nihilistic people that needed something to believe in, and they like this version of hate and anger and focusing on the marginalized or the minorities, and they see themselves as victims. They're aggrieved. They feel put upon, and they're acting on behalf of that. And when you have something like QAnon that establishes a sort of factless mythology, for people to believe in and fuel them, then you really can't combat that with anything. You can't. There's no stopping the way these people think or correcting it, because they'll just be like, well, maybe you might want to, check your facts.
Well, here's the thing.
That Hillary Clinton doesn't eat babies. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Your Honor, I could just see that court proceeding when, the lunatics have taken control, and they haven't killed Hillary. They've just presented her in front of a court, and they're giving evidence on how she eats babies. And anyway, I think that's a funny scenario. But here's the thing. I think I'm a lot more radical left than you. And I think these people you mentioned it, they're broken. And they have a couple of legit gripes. One, there's nobody to represent them. Okay, they're bought and paid. Everybody in this government is bought and paid for by big money. Seriously. Like, I read a guy named Chris Hedges. I read him all the time. He's bleak, but I feel like...
I know Chris. I've talked to him a few times.
You?
And
Have you had him on?
Not on WTF, but I've talked to him at Air America, and I've talked to him.
That was privately. A while ago.
Sure, but the tone doesn't change.
Yeah,
it only gets worse. I mean, certainly he was way ahead of the curve on understanding the nature of American fascism,
yes,
and that it was going to come. But I mean, are you going to change the conversation now? Do you want to talk about the apocalypse, or do you want to talk about your somehow sliver of ideological hope for people to take the leadership position and reconfigure the working class of America? Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know good luck with that. So let's I don't know if I want to get into it. I just wanted to say that the broken people, Hedges,
they're victims. They are victims. I get it.
Yeah.
And I believe that's true. But I believe there was a power vacuum, and there is a power vacuum, and that the people that tapped into the emotions, the grifters and the autocrats, who tapped into the emotions of these disenfranchised working class people that really don't have anywhere to go or are in a desperate situation.
Right. There it is.
Have guided them into what's happening. But I mean, that's the way it happens. So, but the tone you're speaking in is suggesting that, through education or through, some sort of dynamic leader, either a socialist or somebody who is fighting for, that sensibility, that we can turn this ship around. And I don't know, maybe I'm more
feel like
cynical.
No, I'm with you. I mean, it doesn't feel like it, because what would have to happen would be the left and the right coming together, like the lunatics on the left, which I include myself in, and the lunatics on the right. They have to get together, and I just don't see it.
There's so many other conversations around the fragmentation of information and media, and I don't feel qualified to speak to a lot of that stuff other than my own speculation. I talk about this stuff all the time, but in what you were saying about environmental problems and problems with frightening people with guns and the idea of collapse of what we've grown to understand as order here, the fear of not knowing whose side the cops are on or what the military is going to do or what's really going on in the bigger picture, in terms of not knowing about the leadership vacuum but also, like, lately, or at least yesterday, I tend to go through a full arc of panic, pain, and insanity in one day. I like to have the entire life experience. That's why I get up early. is to wake up terrified, and hopefully by the end of the day have some point of view and acceptance around the situation. And then I go to sleep.
Does your music help? Because there are certain things I do, to try to get out of that head of doom, because I wake up with it as well. I wake up.
I know. I guess through sobriety and through some, training around, compartmentalizing. I don't have to sit in it all day. And there's people I talk to, but also I get, preoccupied with, smaller problems, like, filling the hummingbird feeder or getting mad about some paint. Whatever, you just find some aggravating chores to displace your anger onto.
Right. Who's your go-to? Let me ask you. Well, I want to get to the big question, and you brought it up one night at the Comedy Store. You said, with all this unraveling happen, what exactly is the role of the entertainer during this time?
Yeah, and I do a joke about it that never gets a laugh.
Let's hear it. I might have seen it.
Oh no, it's just about I'm trying to figure out what I do, because I'm not fundamentally a buffoon or a clown or somebody who's going to be detached to the point where I just see myself as a bringer of laughter. But I say, so I was trying to figure out a metaphor for the entertainer's job, or for me as an entertainer. What's my job in the current climate? And I say, when someone's in the hospital and they're going to die, and everyone knows they're going to die, and they've got some time left. Let's say a few weeks. You know what that person hears from almost everybody that comes to visit them in the last few weeks? You're going to beat this, man. You're going to beat this. You're going to be all right. And I think that's the entertainer's job right now.
Yeah. When I talk to audiences and I say things like, look, it's over, everybody. The ecosystem is shot. Right here in Southern California, we are surrounded by intense heat, the wildfires, the mass shootings, a lot of glazed, and that's a Saturday night. People are out on.
Does that have a punchline, or is it
No. It doesn't have a punchline. What I'll say to make a joke about that is after I lay out all of my, premonitions of doom, I will say, I'll take a beat and I'll go, I've got to punch that up. And that gets enough.
That's funny. Yeah, well, it's like that thing I was opening with. That thing, it's sort of like where I go, like, look, I don't want to be negative, but I don't think anything is ever going to get better ever again.
I feel like that sentiment is actually very honest, because as comedians, it like I saw you on the night of the shooting in Uvedale. You brought it up, actually. I forget, it was in the OR, in the original room, and I forget.
Well, yeah, I mean, that, and I haven't really returned to that, but I have done some building of a bit about, about choice. Like, it's hard to stay on top of things that are, topical, and when they're so heavy, it's hard to make them funny.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But my idea on that was that, and it was just an experience I had, that when somebody shoots up a school or a mall or something like that, the question is, like, was this a racially motivated psychopathic mass murderer, or was it just a regular crazy one? And when they're like, sort of, there doesn't seem to be any ideological foundation to it, you're like, well, that's good, at least.
It's so dark. Yeah, I saw you do that, I think. And
day of's not a great time to do it.
No.
I never learned the lesson. The comedy, time, tragedy plus time. I just tragedy now.
Yeah.
Now we do it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, man. Not funny, but it's like we're up there a lot, and if shit goes down, it's almost like we're under orders not to talk about it, or we know it. It would be like, it would be hilarious if, like, just an incredible environmental disaster happened where we lose half the globe's population, yet still we're okay in California, and the comedy store is still open, and we go in that night. And we just don't talk about it. And I could see so many comics doing that. Like, half the world's population gone, and I could see comics going up there going, wow, did you hear about Ben & Jerry's new flavor, folks? Like, just ignore
I don't know. I wonder. Yeah, I think that's true, because, like, everyone's going to handle that responsibility differently. I mean, we know from experience, doing comedy in New York, after 9/11, right when we could, there was definitely two ways of thinking about how to approach it. There's the, people are in trauma. Let's ease their pain, or let's reframe their pain in a funny way. I mean, anyone's approach to what we do, there's no rules, and I don't know that there should be, about, how someone's going to approach something, or maybe just bow out and not do anything at all. But I mean, the thing is that not most comics don't do what you or I do. It's just not the nature of what it is. And I think that there's this idea that, truth tellers or people that take chances up there or talk about current events, that all of a sudden that's everybody. It's never been everybody. It's 5 people. It's not, right. It's just not, it's just not the way it is. And it's never been that way. So, whatever you think, in a generalizing sense, like the comic's responsibility is, I mean, you should speak personally, because there's really not many people that do it like you. So there's no reason to generalize. It's not the comic's job to reflect on, half the population dying the day that it happens. I mean, a good example of this is, and it's not necessarily wrong to give something some time. I remember I was walking with CK years ago, and I think he was about to do his first Letterman.
Oh, wow.
And we were walking around New York, and it was literally like the day after the Oklahoma City bombing.
Oh, wow. What year was that? You remember?
Huh?
What year was that?
I don't know. I don't remember. But I remember we're walking around, and it was like within a day or two of that happening. And I'm sitting there telling Louis, I'm like, he's like, I don't know what people are going to laugh or what's going to happen. I'm like, you got to talk about it, right? And he's like, do I? And I'm like,
on Letterman? On Letterman?
Yeah, how are you not going to talk about it?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know. I don't think he's. You got you got to talk about it. And then apparently he got to the Letterman show, and Bob Morton was producing, and he said to Bob Morton, he said, like, I was talking to Maron, and he thinks I need to address,
I love that he threw you under the bus.
Of course.
Well, no. And then Morton goes like, well, that's why Maron's not doing the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, traditionally, the role of the entertainer is really to distract, I guess. Like,
I don't know if that's true, dude. I mean, I think that again is a frame as an activist that you will take.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure that and I think the same as you.
Yeah.
But in being objective, I'm not sure that comforting people is wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you see that Trevor Noah article that he said now is not the time to be funny? And it's a few years ago. I was like, I feel like you made that decision a while ago, but yeah,
but I mean, it's like when you watch that Carlin documentary. Is that like
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
He chose.
You knew him, by the way. I never knew George Carlin. You must have known him.
And I didn't quite frankly, I was checked out from his later work. And, and in a lot of ways, it wasn't funny other than the way he presented it. He was telling raw truth. That to me, that documentary is just it's a story about a guy no one listened to, and they should have. So that I guess the point is like,
yeah,
there is this idea that you're part of this kind of distraction entertainment complex, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, there has to be on another level, and I'm just thinking about this out loud now, that like, storytelling and finding community and laughter in times of darkness is not necessarily a crime.
No, I agree.
I mean, you just have to identify, you're an activist, and that's what you do. And not everybody's an activist.
Right. And there is something great about doing stand-up in the sense that we are live with these people. We are in that room with them, and there is a sense of community. And when everybody laughs at the same thing, it feels good, right? And people feel...
Well, yeah, of course. But like my problem is like, no matter what I do, like I feel powerless. And no matter, so like even when you hear Carlin talk about later, it's like, he had a very sort of grounded way of looking at the world in that he believed that we were doomed. And he could accept that and still sort of find some enjoyment in his life. And when he went on stage, he did that thing. And when he went off stage, I think he enjoyed the last 10 years of his life with that woman, Sally. And that, he had it in perspective that he was going to die and that would be it. He wasn't going anywhere. He didn't want anyone to make a big deal out of it. And that ultimately human beings were fucked. And he was like, okay, that's what I believe.
Yeah.
So you do what you can, like, but you also have to keep your ego in check. Like, like there are people that have tremendous audiences that have the power to engage the culture in a dialogue, but none of them seem to be doing it in a very proactive way. And what is that? That's ego. What is that? I don't know. Like you look at Carlin in the last years of it, he was always angry and he wasn't as popular as he used to be, but he was still, giving it a go and, and really kind of shaking it up.
I was different. I liked his last stuff. I loved his anger and I loved.
Yeah. I just didn't, my problem with Carlin is not about what he was saying. It's just, I could never feel the man. There was no real vulnerability there ever. And he cops to that.
He does.
It's just
he was very self-aware. He was
he's just like he was disconnected from his emotions. Other than maybe anger. And that was his character. I like vulnerability in my in my eggs. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. And I'm all about vulnerability. I think I just
Can't help yourself.
I can't help myself. I remember Eric Slovin of the famous comedy team Slovin and Allen. You know Eric, right? Eric said to me, Pepitone, one time at a party, and I'm sure I felt very insecure at the party in New York, as I always do. And he goes to me, Pepitone, your pain is palpable.
That's funny because he was a bit robotic, but not an emotional guy.
We used to play this thing where he was like, you're a peasant. I'm from the Upper East Side. He was from the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and I was living in Staten Island or something. He goes, "What do you do in Staten Island? Do you carve ducks out of wood? You know, that kind of thing."
All right, look, I got to get ready to talk to Dana.
Oh, really? Oh, you have Gould on today?
Yeah, I've talked to him before.
I know.
I just got things on my mind about fascist
thank you.
comedy. I do. It's all I talk about. I mean, you and I are not unalike.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mark, so much for coming on, brother.
Okay. I hope that you got what you needed from me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I always need more, and I don't know what the hell that is. I think you have a lot of experience with that. You're going to leave.
You read Hedges that, with Hedges, because back in the day, I was always still sort of wanted. I just loved getting laughs out of people, and when I was talking to Hedges, all I wanted to do was make him laugh, but which is possible, but it's not going to distract him from the message. When Hedges laughs, it's like yeah, but it's over.
I love him.
Thank you for distracting me and causing me to laugh, but can we get back to the problem at hand?
Exactly. All right, Mark. Thank you, man.
Very smart guy. All right, take it easy, buddy.
See you soon.
See you later. Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Too.
Bye. All right, everybody. That was the great Mark Maron. Pretty serious conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Grounded in seriousness. But all right, well, we got a fun show for you. We're going to distract you from the horror, which is. But we're gonna also talk about the horror. That's what this podcast does. We distract from the horror, yet we delve right into it.
Oh, yeah. Let's get to diving.
All right, we'll be back.
And now another episode of the man who polishes brass candle holders at the Pentagon.
Oh, Jesus. I got to polish all these brass candle holders before a big dinner between the heads of, Israeli Defense Force and our Secretary of State. That's my job today. And every time I tell my friends I'm polishing brass candle holders, they're saying I'm jerking off. Like they say that it's a metaphor, like polishing a brass candle holder is a metaphor for me jerking off. First of all, I don't masturbate anymore. I cannot, I just can't see sexual, I don't have any more sexual fantasies, I'm in my late 70s, and, I've run through every fantasy, like tying up a group of people and fucking them, or getting my ass, eaten out by a glee club. I'm done. I'm done with all of the, fantasies. So when all my friends are saying, oh, you polished the brass candle holders at the Pentagon, you're just jerking off. No, there's no more sexual fantasies. Anyway, it is interesting polishing brass candle holders at the Pentagon, because I overhear a lot of what these warmongers say. Because a lot of times, I look indistinct. I'm from the working class. I look like someone whose teeth were never fixed, and that's true. My teeth were never fixed. I've got various growths coming out of my neck. I'm from the working class. I don't have money to laser off everything that grows on my body. Unwanted skin tags, just incredible, things grow out of your body once you're past a certain age. And so they don't notice working class people, these motherfuckers who go to Harvard and Yale, and now now they got their finger on the button of all these weapons, and they kill men, women, and children, and then they say it was for democracy, but I'm from the working class, and I know what these fucking... Raytheon and fucking Halliburton and Northrop Grumman and all these defense contractors, it's all about death. And, my wife says I am all about death, and I tell her, fuck you. That's what I tell her. I say, fuck you, just to get the ball rolling on the argument. And then I say, no, I'm not all about death. I just polished the candle holders. And she says, are you jerking off? And I say, why do you have to start that? I mean, I can understand getting it from Larry and Nick at the bowling alley, but why do you I don't jerk off anymore? And she's like, maybe you do, maybe you don't. And I'm like, what kind of relationship is this? What do you mean? We know each other, don't we? And then she keeps drawing. She's drawing now peace signs. My wife draws peace signs all over the house. Yet she makes war with me. You figure that fucking one out.
And thanks for joining us for the conversation with the man who polishes the brass candle holders at the Pentagon.
Well, that was our show, everybody. That was our show, and I'm sure you feel more hopeful and or nihilistic. I never know what the pronunciation is for nihilistic or nihilistic. And let's just call it dystopian. Hopefully you are feeling better about our demise. Remember, this is the podcast with no upside. We would love it if you gave a review. And where can they give reviews, Kat?
Anywhere they listen to podcasts. So iTunes obviously is an easy thing, but if you're on Podbean or Google, we're on every platform. So wherever you're listening, leave us a review. If you've already left us a review, then feel free to do some graffiti outside of your home, write a review, there. Or
promote the podcast any way you can, folks. And if it means, damaging some of your things, so be it.
Yeah, we need to get more listeners. You know what I mean? If that's going to require you spray painting your siding on your house, then that's what it's going to take.
And those of you who are listening, if you're not a Patreon member, please join Patreon, Eddie Pepitone. What is it? Patreon.com/Eddie Pepitone.
Yes, correct.
And there's bread and circuses. There's $5 a month. There's $20 a month. You get some nice extra stuff, and it keeps the podcast going.
And if you want to reach out to the pod, send us an email to Eddie Pep Podcast at gmail.com. And say what's up.
Podcast at gmail.com.
I got all these in my brain.
Yeah.
I've got all the podcast emails ready to go.
All right, folks. So that's been our show. I'd like to thank everybody who's been involved, but I do not have the time. So let us just say, see you next time, if there is a next time.